Thank you, Professor Greenberg. Dear participants, dear guests, hello. It's my great pleasure to have the honor to participate in the opening of today's 5th International Conference on AAC, organized by Assistive Foundation with the support of UNICEF Bulgaria and with the partnership of the Ministry of Education and Science and the International Society for Augmentative and Alternative Communication, AIESEC. Allow me to convey the greetings of Diana Kovacheva, the ombudsman, and to underline how important the topic of this conference is, and to wish you, on her behalf and on my behalf, a successful cooperation in the 3 days of the conference. Undoubtedly, today's event is key for providing access of children and people with communicative problems and severe speech impairments regarding their right, the right to live, the right to education, the right to development, integration, access to justice, and dignified life. Today I'm here with you at this conference, which has a task to gather together the experience of the past and transform it into the future, to invest in children and young people with disabilities by relying on professionals, on the partnership and the good Bulgarian international practice. Not only to learn more about the world experience and contemporary approaches in the use of AAC by children and adults who are finding it hard to communicate, but to commit on behalf of the International Independent Authority, the Ombudsman, for protection of the human rights, to support the process of sustainable introduction of assistive technology in Bulgaria. We're going to form and send specific recommendations to the Bulgarian government and to all competent authorities for making this process faster and the introduction of AAC as a main means to have an impact on the national policies for the rights of children and humans as a whole. We're going to join hands with Assistive Technologies Foundation and all specialists in order to provide every child in need access to a computer and to the AAC system. Thus, in reality, we're going to help them learn, develop, and practice. For me, it's important to note that the institution of the Ombudsman has sustainably been establishing the defense of the rights of the child and human rights as an institution with a status A under the UN. The Ombudsman is partnering with civil society organizations. We are following our mission to raise awareness about the issues that citizens are facing on a daily basis, with an emphasis on the most vulnerable people, the children and adults with disabilities. In 2023, the Ombudsman has been under the sign of the International Campaign for Protection of the Rights of Children and People with Disabilities. Within this campaign, there were numerous initiatives, discussions, information days, and meetings of organizations and for people with disabilities for changing the legislation so that there are more better financial terms for the policies, creating better administrative practices, and changing public attitudes. One of the positive steps this year was the provision of 8 million Bulgarian lev additional funding for inclusive education. On the 30th of November, we will see the public consultation on the topic of inclusive education, issues and solutions. This comes in partnership with the Minister of Education and Science. There, data will be analyzed to do with children with special education needs and their right to education. The complaints that we receive and the results of independent monitoring on inclusive education have shown that there is a need to introduce new models for working with children and students with special education needs in the school environment. We need a common vision and decisive action for change, such as AAC, which will be a part of the process of creating the access to education for every child. In November, the ombudsman took over the presidency of the Council of Monitoring under the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, and Bulgaria has obligations under Article 33, paragraph 2 of this international act. Just briefly, let me note that the Council is a collective body composed of representatives of the Ombudsman, the Commission for Protection Against Discrimination, representatives of organizations of and for people with disabilities, of the academia, as represented by the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. The Council can offer recommendations to the responsible institutions for avoiding and putting an end to violation of the rights of children and people with disabilities. It creates reports on an annual basis about its report, and it carries out activities to do with promoting, protecting, and monitoring of how the convention is applied. At the first sitting of the council under the presidency of Professor Kovacheva, which will take place on the 1st of December this year, we have invited Professor Greenberg in order for him to present the challenges and outlook in the application of the AAC system with children and adults with communicative disorders. I wouldn't like to take more of your time. So that's why let me once again wish you a successful and efficient conference, to thank you on behalf of Bulgarian children and people who are vulnerable and with communicative disorders for being so committed to this cause of protecting the human rights and their rights. And I'd like to assure you that the institution of Ombudsman is your sustainable partner in the mission to build policies based on human rights. So we shouldn't forget our promises to children and to people with disabilities. Let's give our best as professionals so that they have a chance to have an independent and dignified life. I wish you a successful conference and thank you for your attention.